Tornado victims are spread all over East Baton Rouge Parish this evening.
Twisters touched down as far north as the Hooper Road area and as far south as Segan Lane.
Newsline's Terrence Jackson is standing by live right now at Segan Lane in a mobile home park that suffered real heavy damage this morning. Terrence?
Well, George and Donna, we are just outside the Pecue Mobile Home Park, which is just off of Airline Highway. Power has not yet been restored out here. Residents are still sifting through the rubble. Many of them have seen their homes destroyed today. The tornado passed through this area about 7 o'clock this morning, and many of the residents say it brought them the most terrifying experience of their lives.
It was just, I don't know, just like a big whirlwind, just blowing and scooping up everything in its sight. It was terrible. I can't believe this happened.
The tornado hammered the Pecue Trailer Park before many of the residents had time to brace themselves. The tornado plowed through this trailer park like it had a mind of its own. Some homes were left untouched, but others were completely destroyed. Kimberly Carver's home is now just a pile of rubble. She was awakened by the twister in her bedroom this morning.
Everything was flying around the room. I thought the trailer was slipping because we've seen it tore the whole front up out there. I thought it was going to die. I did. I've been so scared my life.
Residents here are just glad no one died or was seriously injured. After the twister left the trailer park, it preyed upon the Shenandoah Subdivision.
We saw a big funnel coming, and it had debris in it 700 or 800 feet in the air, just blowing everywhere. Real strong winds, and we just went for shelter.
Downed trees and debris are scattered throughout the subdivision. One of the trees crashed through the guest room of the Hammond family home.
We're lucky that no one got hurt. It really could have been bad. It was only about maybe 10 feet from my daughter's bed where she was sleeping.
Well, for residents of the Shenandoah Subdivision and the Pecue Mobile Home Park, we imagine it will be several weeks before everything is cleaned up and put back together. And, of course, that will mean plenty of talking and negotiating with insurance companies. This is Terrence Jackson reporting. George and Donna?
Terrence, we have a curfew in Gross Tate tonight to help protect possessions of the people who live there. Are they going to close off the mobile home park as well?
Actually, the mobile home park has already been closed off to the average resident. Right now, they're only letting people in who actually live here, apparently trying to protect the goods that are still left in the park.
Okay, thanks very much, Terrence Jackson. You know, it is a wonder that anyone survived what happened to a home in North Baton Rouge this morning. It was literally blown apart. The couple living in the house on 78th Street were in bed at the time. They say they knew something was wrong when they began to hear the walls creak against the force of the wind. That's when the roof blew off, causing the entire home to cave in around them. Amazingly, somehow, the couple was able to get out before being buried in the rubble. And that wasn't the only damage done on Baton Rouge's north end. Newsline 9's Phil Rainier was in the area just moments after the tornadoes passed through. Here's Phil's report.
You heard a loud sort of whistling noise, and then you heard something like a creek cracking, and that was the result of it.
This is what he's talking about. One of a number of homes in the North Baton Rouge area resting beneath the weight of tall trees, like the one on this home on 72nd Street. The woman and 3 children in the house when it was smashed escaped unharmed. The roof was ripped off this church at 75th and Pembrook. Trees blocked roads, and down power lines were everywhere.
I was watching television, and all of a sudden the lights went out, and I cut the TV off and went to the front bedroom and looked out the window and saw wind blowing, and all of a sudden I saw debris. The next thing I heard was glass breaking, and I thought maybe it was our cars. And I stopped and I said, I wonder what's going on. And I looked out again and I saw trees and everything just flying. I said, oh my God, a storm.
One of the more unusual sights in the North Baton Rouge area had to be this small piece of tin roof hanging from a tree limb at least 100 feet up. It may be one small indication of just how upside down this area was left in after today's storms. Phil Rainier, Newsline 9.
A lot cooking all around. Mike Graham is here now, and Mike, you warned us about possible tornadoes last night.
Last night we saw the severe weather in the central part of the state. You know, it's interesting to note that thunderstorms and tornadoes in our area, notwithstanding the peak wind gusts that the Baton Rouge office of the National Weather Service reported to me was about 38 knots at about 11 minutes after 6 this morning.
Which is about
41 miles an hour. And just over 2 inches of rain. Well, with the popularity of home video cameras, we have more pictures of tornadoes than I can remember in a long time. This video shot in Plaquemine, where David Haydell, a local volunteer fireman, was on his way to help out with the cleanup from the tornado in Gross Tate. He saw this in a field, and he grabbed his camera. I don't know that I would have been so brave. I would have been trying to take some cover. But I'll tell you what, there were at least 3 storm tracks that I can identify. One began in Gross Tate and then moved across West Baton Rouge into East Baton Rouge Parish. The second one was in our parish across more southern sections. Both of them took a northeastward course. And then that third one, which we just saw video of down south of us in Iberville Parish. But those 3 tornadoes had a lot of different areas to touch down.
You know, Mike, a lot of people have asked, why do we say this is the worst toll we've had in 64 years? And I believe, checking your records, the last bad series of tornadoes around here was October 14th of 1925, and we had 5 dead and 65 injured.
And that's an unusual time of year for that to happen. Of course, in this part of the country, any time is an unusual time for tornadoes. They don't happen often here.
The obvious question now is, what's ahead?
Good weather. I'll have a whole lot more about that straight ahead. It's hard to believe from this peaceful-looking forecast that we had such deadly weather in Baton Rouge today, but there's still a chance of rain in our region. That'll be primarily, though, southeast of us and closer to the mouth of the Mississippi River and the Gulf Coast. Most of our day will be partly cloudy and certainly going to be warm and humid with temperatures well up into the 80s, very close to 90 degrees. This is the map today. There's the system at the surface along which the bad weather developed. It has moved southward and eastward now, and as we set these maps in motion, you'll see its continued motion. It is a weak system, so that as far as continued effects on Gulf Coast weather are concerned, there won't be too much. There is the area that we're watching right now on as far as the development for more severe weather is concerned, and that's a tornado watch over the Florida Panhandle and southern Alabama. Let me show you color computer radar from the National Weather Service, and you'll see where the most rain is falling right there near the mouth of the river. I can bring that in somewhat better perspective for you. It is that line that is releasing some heavy thunderstorms now from well south of New Orleans, eastward, and along the Gulf Coast near Mobile. Let me show you the satellite picture right now, and it's encouraging for us as the clouds begin to break up, not encouraging for the southeastern part, the Florida Panhandle and the Pensacola-Mobile region, because that's where some very strong storms are in progress. Weekend looks better for us, maybe some chance of rain along southeast Louisiana Saturday. Thunderstorms in the southeastern part of the country and through the plains, but Sunday looks better. Still, both days probably will be warm, humid, and just a slight chance of rain. We can't take it out of the forecast completely at this time of the year. West to southwesterly winds on the coast, up to 20 knots, at least for the early part of tonight. A small craft advisory is in effect because the winds and seas are going both to be rather high. Pinpoint forecast that I prepared for you in the Newsline 9 Weather Center. A warm, humid night tonight. The early evening hours will see the temperature drop to about 80, overnight to about 74. The sky will be partly cloudy then, and when you wake up as the temperature begins to rise, probably the bigger chance of rain will be in the afternoon hours, and even then it's not too great. The air a lot more stable, only 20% the likelihood, and temperature well up in the 80s. Then let's move into Saturday's forecast to find a 20% chance of an afternoon storm with a low temperature in the morning of 72 and